Hello, welcome or welcome back to my channel. Summer's here, and this video is me reading summer reads for the week. These are the books that I want to be choosing for this week. So first up we have Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I've heard bits and pieces about it, but honestly, pretty blind going into this. Then I have a Beach Read by Emily Henry. I don't know how I haven't read this book yet, but behind me, Happy Place by Emily Henry, I read last month and literally devoured that book. 5 stars. I loved it. So I'm very excited because I know so many people love Beach Read. And then the last book is The Roughest Draft. My mom actually gifted me this, I think, for my birthday maybe, or Christmas. One of the two. So now it's finally back to summertime and I want to read this book. I'm excited. I think the first one I really want to get into is honestly Beach Read. I feel like I'm just going to speed through this and I've heard literally nothing but amazing things, so I'm dying to read this book. This is what's first. How come I'm only on page 3 and like I want to cry and I'm like giddy and feeling all these emotions? Maybe it's because I too am a hopeless romantic. Emily Henry, you'll be the death of me. Okay, update time. So it's now Tuesday. I started this on Sunday where I read like 300 pages of it, and then yesterday I didn't get home until like 7 o'clock, so I got in bed eventually and I finished this book. Okay, guys, let's talk about it. This is my second Emily Henry book, and I read Happy Place last month. If you want to see like more thoughts and opinions on that, you can watch my May wrap up. So I know a lot of people compare Beach Read with Happy Place or vice versa in the sense that those are like top books for Emily Henry, and the type of writing style, the type of story told, not like the same plot, but just like the depth of it. I think these two are the top Emily Henry books, and I would have to agree. I gave this book 5 stars. I loved Gus in January, and I loved the depth of the story. I love that Emily Henry doesn't write just a romance book. Like, it's not just 2 characters going through life, like day-to-day mundane stuff, and then like yay love. It's like these characters are going through stuff. Each of them have their own things that they're going through this summer, and yet they're there for each other without knowing that they're there for each other. And I also just loved that these characters like knew each other before. Like, they knew each other in college. Like, they weren't friends in college. If anything, they were slight enemies, sort of, but they knew each other, and I think that's what just made their relationship like deeper, especially like as a reader, just reading their story, like their story together unfold. I think the biggest thing for me as why I'm able to give these books 5 stars is because I've related to both female characters, like in Happy Place, the main character, and then in Beach Read, the main female character. I've just related to how they handle things and how they think about things and feel about things. Relating to that so much just made it easy for me to really just love the story and want to keep reading it and understand why she's doing what she's doing, why she's thinking what she's thinking, why she's feeling what she's feeling, all of it. So this was such an amazing summer read also. I love the setting of this. I love the small town of it. It was just so good. I really, really, really love this book. Did I ever talk about what this is? I feel like if you watch any like booktubers, you're on Bookstagram, like all the things, you would know what this book is about. In a very, very short synopsis, it's 2 writers that write in different genres. They're both in a slump. They switch genres and agree to take each other on different adventures weekly to help the other, like, with that genre. So it's good. It's so much more than that synopsis, but that's the gist. So the next two books I have on my list to read this week is The Malibu Rising and The Roughest Draft. I thought obviously I'd want to choose Malibu Rising because The Roughest Draft is about two authors. But then I was like, the story is so different and I really want to read The Roughest Draft. But it's about two authors that used to co-write together, but 3 years ago something happened and now they don't. But they have one book left on contract. So they have to come together to write this romance book. Yes. And they have to just navigate all the things. Because obviously something happened and they have to write this book together. And not just any book. It's not like they're writing a horror thriller where they can just really get out that anger. They're writing a romance book. So they have to just come together and deal with that on top of writing this book. I think it'll be good, and I know it's going to be different than Beach Read. Like, I know that that one's also about two writers, but it's just so different. I don't know how to explain that, but you know. I gave you the synopsis. You know, it's different. So that's what I'm going to read right now. Okay, I'm on page 37, chapter 6 of The Roughest Draft. I'm definitely, like, loving this book. I think something that I'm liking about this book compared to other books in the past that I've dealt with, like, two people that have had an issue in the past and now it's been years and, you know, they haven't talked. This book, it appears that they both know what happened and now they're just having to, like, they're gonna have to go through that. But I feel like a lot of other books, it's like, yes, the reader doesn't know what happened, but also, like, one of the people don't really know what happened in the past. So I like that these two appear to both at least, like, have some knowledge. Like, we don't talk anymore because of this reason, and now they're just gonna have to go through that. I love that you're getting both POVs of Nathan and Katrina. I don't think this is a spoiler, so I gotta, like, discuss this because this is literally, like, the end of chapter 5 that I just read and then stopped and picked this up. But the whole thing, right, is that they co-wrote, like, these two books together, very successful, and then whatever happened, happened, and they don't write anymore. Well, they don't write together anymore. Nathan published his own solo book. Of course, it's a flop, which is why the whole premise is that they have to finish that last contracted book together for not only his success, but also in a way her success and, like, her agent's success. Like, I mean, just, like, the success of everyone involved. But she had gone to a bookstore and was pressured essentially into buying, peer pressured, silently, into buying Nathan's single copy of the book. And then at the end of this, it says, I close the cover and walk over to the boxes of books in the closet where I place the new purchase on top of the copy of Refraction, the book's title, I already owned. She already had his book. Are we going to talk about that? Are we going to talk about that? I'm going to cry and I don't exactly know why, but like, why did that make me so emotional? For what reason? It's okay, I'm fine. But this book, I'm definitely enjoying it. And so now we're just to the point that she's accepted to write this book with Nathan. I'm so not okay. I'm gonna keep reading this and I'll update you later, but I just had to update you after reading that and I was just like, now's a good time for an update. Oh my god. It's the next day and I have an update. I actually finished the Roughest draft yesterday, and I really thought I was just gonna read like a couple hundred pages and then like finish it today. I did not want to put this down. I was enjoying it so much. So it's following Katrina and Nathan that a few years ago they were co-authors on this book that was a bestseller, and in that same time their like co-author relationship ended, and they definitely weren't going to discuss it with the public, and so no one really knows why they stopped writing together, why allegedly like they don't talk anymore, like what's the tea, you know what I mean? Like people, they want to know. Like it's a male and a female writing essentially a book involving romance, there's got to be something. But they have one book left on their contract, and no one's like really pressured them to write it, but between like personal and professional lives between the two, essentially they're forced to get together and write this final book at the same house that they wrote their last book. And that's not a spoiler, like that's on the back. Oh my god. This was so good. And I loved it a lot because it was just like this light-hearted summer romance type book. Like, yes, they had different kind of issues personally together that they were working through, but it wasn't that deep. And that was good. I enjoyed that. It was like lighthearted. So they have to come together. They have to navigate how to write this yet another romance book while really being the best at writing and not really wanting to discuss and work through immediately their issues from the past. So it was just really good. I gave this book 4.5 stars. It did not give that 5-star feeling, but overall I did really enjoy like these books and the characters and the writing element. Like this book is itself had co-authored, so Emily Wibberley and Austin Siegemund-Broka. Oh, I'm so bad. I'm sorry if that was just completely terrible, but having like two people write this book about two authors, that was just amazing. I really enjoyed this. It's both POVs of Nathan and Katrina, along with this like subtle past and present thing. Like it's taking you like moments of them writing the last book 3 years ago or 4 years ago, and it's so good, and it's not confusing to follow in any way. The writing was just so easy to read. That's why I feel like I just got through this. It's like 313 pages, I think. So it was a good book to get through in a day. I really enjoyed this. I definitely recommend. Okay, same day, just a little later. I'm back home, and it's time to start Malibu Rising. Frankly, I'm not even that positive what it's about, but it's giving off summer vibes, and I do know like it's not this happy sunshine rom-com. Like I'm aware of that, but I just don't know the full plot of this. I think this may be my first Taylor Jenkins Reid book. I'm like looking at stacks that I've read, and I don't know if I've read anything. So we'll see how it goes. Hello, it's Saturday now, so I think my last update I gave was Wednesday at some point, and Thursday and Friday I was just like very busy with other things, so I didn't read that much, but I'm enjoying it. So today I do plan to finish this book, Malibu Rising. I didn't really know that much of what this was about. Like I'd heard kind of just like sentences here and there, but obviously this book is nothing like the beachy romance books I was reading. This is following a family, essentially. It's following the Rivas. There's 4 kids, and it's this kind of past and present timeline where the kids have like a famous dad and, you know, their mother's sort of famous in relation. But it's following like the past, present, timeline of them growing up and like what their family has gone through, and then the present time is like where the kids are at now, and the present timeline is a single day. Like it goes from time stamps like starting at 7 a.m. and then it's like 7 a.m. chapter, a chapter from when their parents first met, and then it's 8 o'clock current time. So the present timeline is just a single day, but the past timeline is going through like an entire lifetime. So it's insane. Like this book is just so much deeper than I feel like I've heard people discuss, but it's really good. Like it's just a story of a family, and they're set obviously like in Malibu. They're surfers, they're musicians, they're, like all these things. It's damn. I'm into it. I'm enjoying it. I'm gonna continue to read this today. I have other things to get done, but I'm bringing this with me. I have the audiobook as well, so I've been listening to that. But this is good. It's just very different than what I have been reading. I just finished Malibu Rising. I was listening to the audiobook the entire time I was doing like computer work at Starbucks earlier, and then I just came home and I heard something that was just like, this is way too good. So then I was like, wait, no, stop. I want to sit down and read it with a book. So the last like chapter or so, I sat down and I read it, and wow, that book, this book that I just read was so unexpected. Wow. If I had to rate this, I would probably give it 4 stars. Like, it was not a 5-star feeling. I've known that since the beginning, but this book was really good. Like, just the story of this family and the lessons learned and the rawness, the realness of just life and the destructions it can cause, but also, like, the love that's there and how powerful that can be. And just family and having people to count on, having people you can't count on. This was such a good family story. You get the family, like the kids, the parents, and then you also get people that like the kids are connected to, like their friends, their love interests, like things like that. What is this book considered? Fiction, historical fiction, contemporary, romance, historical. Okay, so I mean, it's a fiction book. Duh. I don't know. I don't know if historical fiction. I feel like that's, like, you get bits and pieces starting from the 1960s. So I guess. Okay, so the current day is taking place 1983. Like, and I told you the past present timeline. The present timeline is just a single day. And that's in 1983, but your past timeline that you're also getting starts, I think it was like, what was it, like 1959 or something? 1956. So you're following like a 30-year experience. Like everything from the past is building up to this present day. Wow. I feel like my thoughts just like aren't really able to compute because I'm just like in shock over what I just read. I mean, I enjoyed it. I want to know kind of what, I know she has like some more just romance books. Like this is following a whole family dynamic, right? So it's not like a romance book. But I know she has like more of those. So I'm just curious like what her style is, I guess, outside of this book. But 4 stars. I definitely recommend this. Just know like it's not a lighthearted summer book. It's not like a depressing summer read, but it's not like the lighthearted beach read, roughest draft where I'm just like, wow, I'm so giddy in these moments. Even if some are like have more depth to them, they're still more of that lighthearted summer read. I would say this is not, but it's just definitely giving off summer vibes because of it being set in Malibu. Wow. Okay. Wow. Speechless. I just want to wrap up the video talking about the books that I read in it. So first I read Beach Read, Emily Henry. I recently read Happy Place. That was my first Emily Henry book. I already own this, but I think I bought it during like fall time or something where it wasn't the time to read it. So now is the time to read it. I loved it. I loved it so much. It was a 5-star read. January and Gus, they were precious. I love the depth of this book, that it wasn't just a romance. It had more rawness, realness that the characters were like going through, and I feel like that's a lot of Emily Henry's writing that I hear from other people. Like, her books are more than just kind of the surface level romance, and so I feel like if you're looking for something like that, this book was really good, along with Happy Place, like just being more than just a romance, having more depth. I love this book. The next book I read was The Roughest Draft. Now, this book is by 2 authors, Emily Wibberley and Austin. I butchered it every single time, but you know, 2 authors wrote this book about 2 authors having to co-write a book together. And this book, guys, I gave this 4.5 stars. It didn't give the 5-star feeling, but I thoroughly enjoyed this book. I really enjoyed just the concept of it all, like the fact that you had this co-writing situation that obviously led to them not writing together anymore, and now they're brought back together to have to write the final book on their contract, and they're having to just like battle it out with each other while writing a romance book. And I just love that. I loved it. It was so good. The banter was good, the like tension, the angst, like this book. I definitely recommend it if you are wanting more of that surface level romance, lighthearted, beachy vibe. Like, it definitely gave off summer vibes. They're literally set in Florida, but I loved it. I loved it so much. And after reading Beach Read, I was nervous, like, these are about 2 authors, so I was like, I don't know, am I going to compare it too much? Like, no, like, it was different, way different, but like same. It was like same but different, because you're still getting the environment of authors and books and writing, but the story is so different. And I really enjoyed the writing in this as well. It was so easy to follow. You got the duo POV, but you also got the sort of past and present timeline situation. And none of it was confusing to follow, which I really appreciate, because I feel like when you're throwing in past and present and multiple POVs, I just think that could seem really complicated, but I feel like these 2 authors just did a really great job making that happen. And then the final book I read, Malibu Rising. So this is by Taylor Jenkins Reid, first book from her, and this book, so I gave it 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. It was just so different than other books that I've read in general, but obviously especially in this video. I went in wanting like summer reads, and I got it. Wow. I'm glad I didn't read the back ahead of time, and I only had kind of this like snippet of things people have said about it in my head. So this book was good. If you want like more of just like a story following a family, following multiple characters, it's not a romance book. I don't know how to describe it. It's a fiction book, but I recommend it. I recommend it if you want something different, like you're wanting a summer read that isn't just a romance. I feel like a lot of summer reads are, but this was more than that, and it really wasn't following, you know, just like one person's love story, right? It's following a whole group of people, and it's 3rd person, so you just get so much more, I feel like, with that, because if it was just told in a POV of one of the people, like, I feel like you just wouldn't have gotten as much as you did. So I really liked Taylor Jenkins Reid, like her writing, and I also was listening to this, which just, I don't know, I liked that part of it. I like being able to listen to it. I was just listening to a story, and I think when I am listening to an audiobook that's told in 1st person or maybe multiple POVs, like sometimes if I'm not reading the book alongside it, it can be hard, but I think this being 3rd person made it so much easier to just like listen to while I was doing other things, because I felt like someone was just telling me a story. I really liked it. I recommend this book if you're looking for just something different to read for the summer but wanting a summer scene. This was a very fun week of reading, and I'm glad that I read these books and had such positive like experiences. There we go. That's the word. So thank you for watching, and I will see you in my next one.